What's going on? It's yours truly, Mr.Taliaferro. How's everybody doing out there? So, guys, I want you to bear with me. I'm about to put some comments on the screen from the Golden State Warriors head coach, Steve Kerr. And I like Steve Kerr a lot. I think he's pro player. I think he's progressive. I don't like how Steve Kerr and the Warriors handled the Kevin Durant injury. I didn't like it. I thought Steve Kerr dodged a lot of questions about KD's injury. But other than that, I've never had problems with Steve Kerr. I think he handles the Draymond Green saga as best he can. I know the dude has a lot of headaches. I think Steve Kerr came in and, he took what Mark Jackson started and he developed it. I ain't mad at Steve Kerr. I like Steve Kerr, the coach. I don't think he's a great coach, but I think he's a really good coach. I really do think he's a really good coach, and he's out-coached some guys in the playoffs, right? He said some comments on this Warriors Insider podcast. I've never watched that podcast, but he said some comments on this podcast that halfway baffle my mind, though. Halfway baffle my mind. Now, I'll explain it more. So I'm going to put the comments on the screen, and we'll come back. He said, as a former player, I always lean toward player empowerment. Speaking on Anthony Davis, again, this is about Anthony Davis, forcing a trade to the Los Angeles Lakers. He said, guys who have earned the right to in free agency, right? If they want to make a move for their own careers, I'm all for it. They've earned that right. My only issue is when a player who is under contract decides not to honor the contract. That's a problem. That's something that could really affect the league. So I said I halfway am baffled by Steve Kerr's comments. Let me give you the part of it that I agree with Steve Kerr on. This is the Golden State Warriors head coach. I agree. Players not finishing their contracts could become a problem, right? Players not finishing their contracts could become a problem. This just is what it is, right? Like, unfortunately, in this country, companies hire players, companies hire people, and they have the right to let you go at any time for the most part, but you don't have the right to move when you want to. You just can't wake up one day and say, I want to go work in this city. Most of us don't have that right. Right? The players or employees that are appreciated and can negotiate or have the right to negotiate or have some type of leverage in their contracts, they have opt-out clauses, right? So if you want to fire me or you want to move me to a city, fine. That's going to cost you an extra $100,000. My buyout starts at $500,000 or whatever it is, $2 million, right? So the more leverage you have, the more you can negotiate. That's your get back because you can't be moved at any point, but your get back is at least you can negotiate a big time buyout. Now there are thousands, millions of employees in this country that don't have the right to a buyout, right? The job, they're not valuable enough to the company, in the minds of the company, to have a buyout. Bear with me here. What Steve Kerr is complaining about is the fact that players are still getting all their money because all NBA contracts are guaranteed, but now they're at the point where they're saying, yeah, I'm a year in my deal. I don't want to play here anymore. Can y'all get me out of here? Matter of fact, I'm demanding y'all get me out of here. I don't want to play here anymore. I've been here 4 or 5 years. Y'all suck. I demand a trade. I'm still on the contract, but I'm letting you know I won't re-sign here in the next summer. You should get what you can for me right now. And I think that's what Steve Kerr is saying. This whole force your way through, force your way to a trade. I partially agree with that. Here's where I'm lost. So what's being missed here is Anthony Davis had a year left on his deal. The reason why the Pelicans traded Anthony Davis at the point that they traded him was because they're entering the final year of his deal. He has 1 year left on his deal, meaning summer 2020, he can be a free agent. As a matter of fact, the Lakers made the trade for Anthony Davis, and he still ain't even signed a long-term deal with them. He can leave Los Angeles after this season, right? He's a free agent next summer. So, wait a minute. The Pelicans did the best they could because to get the Lakers to trade Lonzo, to get them to trade Josh Hart, Ingram, all those picks, you got to make it worth the Lakers' while. They're not giving you all of that at the February trade deadline in 2020. They're not doing that because they're like, yo, Anthony Davis can be free in 3 months. We're not doing that. We'll wait until he's free. The Pelicans made a move this summer actually, and said, you know what, it's the right time where the Lakers have the most interest in this player because their job is to get what they can. And Anthony Davis has the ultimate value still left before this dude February comes up and teams are trying to give us 50 cents on a dollar, right? Now, what I don't like is Anthony Davis, flatly said, I only want to re-sign in LA because he didn't re-sign in LA, which kind of meant like he didn't, usually players like, to force their way to one team specifically, they'll say, I only will re-sign an extension in Boston or LA in Anthony Davis situation, right? Well, he didn't even re-sign the extension. So pretty much you could have traded him anywhere that had the best offer. It looks like the Lakers just had the best offer, right? Think about that. Anthony Davis, he didn't even sign the extension in LA. That's the point of like trading him to the Lakers, was because he said, look, I only want to play for the Lakers. But he didn't re-sign the extension. Now, I don't know what under the table agreement Rich Paul and the Lakers have, but I guarantee you this, if LeBron gets injured in game 3, Anthony Davis is leaving the Lakers. I can tell you that now. But anywho, what I disagree with Steve Kerr on, or what baffles my mind. So the Pelicans trade Anthony Davis with 1 year left in his deal. They get a huge overhaul. The Lakers are going to be giving the Pelicans picks for the next decade, damn near. They get an up-and-coming star in Lonzo, a former number 2 pick, another former number 2 pick in Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, who's he's a rotation player in the NBA, and you say you don't like that part of player empowerment, right? You don't like people forcing trades, but you don't bring up Paul George. Here's where I'm going with this. People hate the Lakers, people hate Magic Johnson, and people hate LeBron James. Because that's what my conclusion is, right? Everybody wants to talk about anything connected to LeBron so damn bad. They hate LeBron, and LeBron has been relevant for over a decade now in the spotlight as one of the best, if not the best in the game. Anything tied to LeBron, they hate. Steve Kerr did not mention in that podcast Paul George going to the Clippers. Because if you were really upset with the player empowerment movement, that's the deal that you should be talking about, not Anthony Davis. He was talking about Anthony Davis' move specifically, not Paul George. So, wait a minute. Paul George signed a new 4-year deal last summer. He was under contract for 3 more years in Oklahoma City. He forced a trade out of OKC. He said we had some sort of agreement under the table. Well, we were going to give it a year. Things got stagnant. Like, Anthony Davis had been in New Orleans for 7 years. And they failed to keep DeMarcus Cousins, an all-star around him. They failed to bring in talent around Anthony Davis. They traded Buddy Hield and then didn't re-sign DeMarcus Cousins. That's their fault. They let Rajon Rondo walk. Anthony Davis gave them the first half of his career. But you focus on that. But you ain't talking about what Paul George did. Just admit it. Y'all hate the Lakers. Y'all hate LeBron. Y'all hate Magic Johnson. Y'all hate anything tied to those 3 things. Because if you were really frustrated, your point of conversation wouldn't be Anthony Davis leaving the Pelicans to go to LA. It would be Paul George going to the Clippers. Where's the backlash to Paul George? I don't see any. The man demanded a trade 25% into his new contract. He demanded it to the Clippers. And the Thunder traded him in 3 days. He said, I want to be traded on Monday or Tuesday. And he was traded by Friday. What? But y'all don't like the Lakers. So y'all focus on Anthony Davis. Because y'all don't like LeBron. Y'all don't like the Lakers. Y'all don't like Magic. Anything tied to those 3 things we hate. And the fact that they all represent the same team right now, we hate it. But you won't even talk about the fact that Kawhi wanted to join the Clippers. He wasn't going to go there. And the Thunder went and traded their star player just really to make the NBA better. to give the Clippers a super team or a super duo. Y'all hate LeBron. Y'all hate anything tied to LeBron. That's why y'all talking about Anthony Davis more than y'all are Paul George. Paul George just got traded 25% into a new contract. Only had played a year or 2 in OKC and said he wanted out. And he got his way out of town. And y'all looking around at Anthony Davis, who gave half of his career to New Orleans. They can't produce a winning franchise to save their life. The ownership sucks. And y'all mad at Anthony Davis. Look, man, it is what it is. I came from nothing, but I want everything God has for me. I interview celebrities. I talk sports. I still represent the culture.
All the kids, they are now tuned in.
Yeah, we locked in right now, Mr. Taliaferro.
Mr. Taliaferro. Shout out to Mr. Taliaferro.
You're watching Mr.Taliaferro TV.
Mr. Taliaferro TV, here with the Triple B's, you can't do nothing but win.